Welcome to Comics Connects, the podcast where we explore the ideas, technologies, and people shaping the future of work. I'm Nick Cross from Comics. We're Australia's leading digital workspaces and cybersecurity specialist. In each episode, we'll connect with industry experts and thought leaders to uncover how organizations are transforming the way that teams work, stay secure, and thrive in a digital-first world. Let's connect now. Welcome to Comics Connects. Today, organizations are operating in increasingly complex IT environments with a mixture of cloud platforms, legacy systems, browser-based applications, and virtual desktops. But as these environments evolve, so do the challenges. Many organizations are dealing with workspace platforms that have become expensive to scale, complex to manage, or difficult to adapt to a modern hybrid work requirements for organizations. Others are heavily invested in native cloud desktop environments that, while powerful, often require additional layers to deliver the seamless experience, flexibility, and control that a business expects. And the result is fragmented user experiences, rising operational overhead, reduced internal skills, and growing pressure on both IT and security teams to maintain control without slowing the business down. At the same time, there's a clear mandate around maximizing existing investments, avoiding unnecessary disruption, strengthening cybersecurity compliance levels. And that's where the right combination of technology and expertise becomes critical. According to Gartner, virtual desktop infrastructure, or VDI, and desktop as a service, DaaS, are experiencing significant shifts, with DaaS moving from a niche technology to a mainstream technology by 2026 and 2027. DaaS is seeing robust adoption with 9% growth each year, and VDI solutions are becoming more financially viable for 95% of the workforce's needs by 2027. As Australia's leading digital workspaces specialist, Comics has for years helped organizations across the Australian region simplify and secure access to applications and data, bringing together modern workspace solutions with zero trust principles. Comics also offers consultancy, managed services, and managed security services to reduce complexity, improve control, and align VDI and DaaS technologies with our customers' business objectives and compliance requirements. In this episode of Comics Connects, I'm excited to introduce Asif Khan from Parallels to explore how organizations can rethink secure workspace delivery, overcome the limitations of traditional and native approaches, and how solutions like Parallels offerings can provide a more flexible, cost-effective, and secure pathway forward for Australian organizations. Hi Asif, welcome to Comics Connects.
Hey Nick, thank you for having me. Very happy to be with you. Thank you for giving me your time.
For those less familiar, how would you describe Parallel's core offerings in today's workspaces and application delivery landscape?
If I have to oversimplify it, I would say Parallels is really about making application and desktop delivery easy again. So Nick, if you ask anyone like how we are different from our competition, the core always remains that Parallels is very simple to use. If you go out and speak with the customers today, most organizations, they need to deliver a mix of things. They want apps, they want desktop, SaaS applications, internal web applications, and this is how the things get a little bit difficult and messy across different environments, whether it's on-prem, hybrid, or cloud. That is where things get complicated. So what Parallels brings to the table is it is all together in one platform. Everything that we do, we try to keep it as simple as possible. So it allows the IT teams to publish and deliver any type of applications or desktop from anywhere to any device. We are completely agnostic, so customer can be on-prem, in cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. And I would say the real differentiator is simplicity. A lot of solutions in this space have become quite heavy over time. Upgrading them takes a lot of time. Setting up an environment takes a lot of time. Expensive to maintain. So Parallels hyper focuses on giving organizations the same capabilities, but in a much more streamlined and simple and cost-effective way.
That's really great to simplifying the way that people can do their work. It's a pretty core message nowadays. But I think you've touched on it, but where do you see organizations are really struggling the most at the moment with their current workspace environments, and how does Parallels actually address that?
I would say let's tie back to the first answer. So the biggest challenge every day I speak with customers, every day I speak with customers that are using legacy VDI providers. The biggest challenge that I see is fragmentation. So over the years, companies they invest a lot, user experience, security. They invested a lot of different products. So they just layered different tools on top of one after another, one for VDI, one for SaaS, another for security. And you would not believe it. There is more often than not, there is a VPN sitting in the middle of everything. So what you end up is with a very fragmented environment. So for IT teams, that means more systems to manage, more points of failure, and higher costs. So these days, a lot of enterprise and corporate customers they are looking for vendor consolidation because more vendors. It means for users, it translates into poor experience, multiple logins, slow access, inconsistent performance, and that is one of the biggest things that keeps IT managers up at night. So this is where Parallels helps is by consolidating that. So instead of stitching together multiple solutions, you can deliver apps, desktop, secure access, all from a single platform.
You talked about removing fragmentation, but not every organization is the same. So perhaps you might be able to share what are some of the common use cases you're seeing across industries today?
This is a very good question because we speak with people from different industries, but there are few patterns that we consistently see. The first is like everyone wants secure remote and hybrid work. They want to keep an option. Every time there is some geopolitical issues, where people are forced to go to send their workers remote. They want to have an option in their queue where everyone is capable to do that, be it storm, be it snowfall, be it any geopolitical issues like we're seeing these days. So the first and foremost in across the industries, I would generalize the industry is secure remote and hybrid work. Organizations want to give employees access to internal systems securely. That is the biggest word of the day from anywhere. But they want to do it without exposing the network or relying on VPNs, as I said, the security. The second, I would say, is across industries. You can speak with any industry, it can be big, small. Application modernization. A lot of businesses they still depend on legacy Windows applications that are not going anywhere anytime soon. Like most of manufacturing, if you speak with them, they are using ERP systems. That is very difficult to make it make it a SaaS application. So instead of rebuilding those apps, they use Parallels to securely publish them alongside modern SaaS applications. And the third one, which is growing quickly, which has grown since COVID and is not stopping anytime soon, is third-party access. Like contractors, partners, vendors, company needs to give them access to specific apps, but not the entire network because, again, security, the word of the day. So we are seeing really strong demand for this, especially across healthcare, education, government, manufacturing, and financial services.
Those organizations in those industries typically, as you've highlighted, have different requirements and different needs. And where Parallels talks about a unified workspace, you've really touched on actually what that looks like for customers. Traditional applications, securing the browser-based access, as well as giving access to contractors or third parties who may need help in the environment. So you've really described your unified workspace stories there. Is there anything else you'd like to add at all?
A unified workspace, from my perspective, is the easiest way to look at it, Nick, is look at it from the user's perspective. You log in once, and everything you need is just there, right in front of you. That could be your SaaS applications like Microsoft 365, your internal web applications, your published Windows applications, or even in a lot of cases, a full virtual desktop if your role requires it. Because it all boils down to how we can enable the workers, right? So you want it all accessible through one interface with a consistent experience. You're not thinking about where the app is running or how it's delivered. You just click and use it. So when you're doing it from the user's perspective, look at it from the IT perspective because it is just as important. Instead of managing multiple platforms like different types of access, everything is controlled from a single place. So most of like whatever we talk about today, Nick, it will always tie back to our core philosophy uh, about keeping everything simple. Licensing, product, demo, everything that we do is extremely simple.
We have touched on it a little bit. You talked about SaaS and web applications. So, how does Parallel enable users to also seamlessly access both browser-based applications and traditional virtual desktops within that same unified workspace? How does that work?
Yeah, this is, I think you have touched upon Achilles heels for heel for a lot of customer companies because SaaS is the future. Published applications are here to stay. VDI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But SaaS, more and more customers. In fact, we did an internal survey where almost 65% of the respondents said that they are moving more towards SaaS. Like 5 years back, it was 70% published applications and 30% SaaS. Now it's just the reverse. And it will keep happening. This is actually one of the areas where Parallels stands out. So in many environments today, when if you look at it, users have to switch between different tools depending on what they're trying to access. One for SaaS, another for VDI, maybe a separate secure browser. With Parallels, all of that is brought together because we have a solution for everything. If you look at our demo environment, when the users log in, you have your published applications on running on Parallels remote application server. In the same login, you will also see our Parallels browser isolation, where you will see the SaaS applications that are secured through a secure web browser. And we also provide a lot of choice in that matter to the customers where they can either do it themselves or they let Parallels do it from the browser isolation side. So the important thing is that the users don't have to think about the delivery method. It's just one consistent experience, regardless of what's happening in the background. That's the key here.
Wonderful. And obviously, you and I and the team at Parallels we've assisted a number of customers here across the Australasian region around um, assessing their current workspace environments. But if you had one piece of advice for organizations here in Australia rethinking their secure access um, for application delivery strategy, what would it be for you?
Application delivery strategy, I would say biggest mindset shift is moving away from network based access or moving away from traditional VDIs that are expensive to manage, that takes a lot of man hours. Because Nick, when we talk about cost, it is not just upfront cost like licensing cost or uh, let's say how much you pay to the vendor. It is also about operational costs, right? Because you need to manage an environment, you need certified people. With Parallels, again, the key here is simplicity because everything ties back to that. Eventually, we stand up POC environments for our customers over the lunch hour. So that is a famous joke going here because it takes 60 minutes to set up a full-fledged POC. We migrate mid to large number of users. Like we recently did a 5,000 seat migration all in less than 15 days. So it is I said it. I think it is a mindset barrier. People need to look at other alternatives that are not so complex. Uh, and if we take that portion out, the biggest shift, mindset shift, is moving away from network-based access. As I said, the traditional model was connect to the network, access what you need. But in today's environment, that approach doesn't really hold up. Or we cannot just go back to 20 years where people are loading up on laptops, which makes it security and logistical nightmare. So organizations should think in terms of application level access. If you can give different set of users access only to the specific apps that they need without exposing the broader network, you significantly reduce risk and at the same time improve user experience immensely. In fact, as you said, Australia, I was speaking with a college yesterday, and they have been providing laptops to they have been providing access to their students, but it is as it should be. The equity of access becomes very important because some students are using Chromebook and some students are using MacBook, and the equity of access is very, as it should be, is very important for that college and institution. So they wanted to look at parallels. They heard about the simplicity because they have one man managing the entire IT team, and he doesn't have all the time in the world to just sit and manage a complex environment. They reached out to us, we sat down, I showed the demo, and the person was really impressed because that solves the equitable access problem for the universities and institutions. So we need to look away from network-based access or hard-worded laptops and look at application-based access, Nick.
That's really exciting, as if that you're able to take a customer through a proof of value and spin that up very quickly. You're able to demonstrate the value. But in terms of working locally here in Australia, what's the benefit of having a trusted specialist partner that you can lean on when you're not local here in Australia yourself? What have you experienced and what works really well for customers?
Absolutely, Nick. The biggest difference is I use the word proof of concept and you use the word proof of value because partners like yourself, Comics, we are a heavily channel driven company. We trust our partners, and Comex, with all its expertise into the VDI space in the years of your existence, uh, there are times when, as you said, I'm not locally present. There are lots of time zone challenges, personnel challenges, because our sales engineering team is spread thin. We always count on partners like yourself, like Comex, where you have technical strength, you have the adaptability, and you have eagerness to go out and help the customers. Because ultimately, Nick, it all ties down to the customers, right? We have helped them make sleep better at night. So this is where you come in. This is where Comex comes in, because I'm not boots on the ground, and you are my I would say ears and mind and heart, who understand the Australian market much better than I can or will ever, unless I go and live in Australia. And it's not just speaking good words. You back that up with your technical bench strength, because I have worked with you on a lot of deals, and every time I put out a bad signal, Nick and Comics was always there with all their army of engineers, and be it proving the value to the customers or post migration, because hypercare is just as important, right? So if the customer likes the product, which they do always, and they want to move forward, your team is always there. So thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. And I like to have at least one great partner in any country where I'm not physically present. Comex checks all the boxes. Love to work with you.
Thank you, Asif. Really kind of you to say those kind words. And thank you so much for your time today and joining us on Comics Connects.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Nick.
As we've seen, many organizations have outgrown the workspace models that they've relied on for years. Whether it's legacy platforms that have become costly and complex to maintain, cloud native environments that don't fully meet the user expectations or security needs, or where the in-house teams don't necessarily have the practical skills or time to address. The gap between what the business needs and what IT can easily deliver is actually widening, and that gap introduces risk, not just from a security perspective, but in user productivity, operational efficiency, and ultimately the ability to support modern ways of working. What organizations are really looking for now is balance. They're looking for strong security and control without compromising user experience or driving up cost and complexity. And that's where platforms like Parallels stand out. When combined with Comics Managed Services and our Managed Security Services, organizations can move beyond just deploying technology. They can actually move to operating a secure, optimized, and compliant workspace environment with a specialist and trusted Australian-based partner. Comics, with Parallels, offers a more pragmatic approach, one that reduces risk, protects existing investments, and gives organizations the flexibility to evolve as their needs change. If your organization is feeling the strain of complexity, cost, or control in your current environment, now's the time to rethink that approach and look to make contact with Comics. We'd welcome the opportunity to help you take that next step. Please contact us directly via teamcomex.com.au. Thank you for watching Comics Connects. Thank you for tuning in to Comics Connects. I'm Nick Cross, and I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation on how technology and innovation are driving smarter, safer workplaces. To learn more about how Comics can help your organization build a secure and seamless digital workspace, visit teamcomics.com.au or connect with us on LinkedIn. Till next time, stay connected and stay secure.